What is the situation in Kiev right now, and what is your request to G7 at this point with this renewed attack coming in from Russia?
Stopped. Almost 100 missiles were sent to Ukraine. Majority of them were intercepted, but unfortunately many reached their goal, and we have dozens of killed and wounded people and destroyed objects of infrastructure, first of all energy infrastructure. So this is a deliberately attack against civilian infrastructure and civilians, and Putin just can't do anything with the Ukrainian army. He's losing the war to Ukrainian army. Ukrainian army is liberating every day new territories in Ukraine. So he takes revenge on just civilians, on women, children, killing them in dozens, like in this brutal attack this morning. That is the situation. What we're waiting for G7, more sanctions against Russia, and the most important, more weaponry to Ukraine, because all of this should be stopped. And Putin does not understand any language except of force.
Alexei, how would you say the civilians are responding to this particular renewed attack on your country?
How can civilians respond? People are certainly afraid
the last time they were very together. They were very, very much together. Their spirits were up. They were doing everything possible as a country to fight back. At this point in time, what is their morale looking like?
We do the same. Morale is very high. We are winning this war. But for sure, when missiles are falling on your head, you can't just dance and laugh and say everything is great. The war, Putin's warfare in Russian style of war is brutal, barbaric. So that is not a day of joy in Ukraine. But for sure, our morale is high. We see that we are winning this war. We see that Putin is desperate. But unfortunately, in his agony, he already has agony. But in his agony, he will kill many more people, unfortunately.
You know, throughout, Ukraine has maintained such a fantastic brave front, and even this morning, you all were able to take down, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere between 10 or 12 kamikaze drones that were Russia's kamikaze drones.
Altogether, we intercepted more than 50% of missiles and drones which were sent against Ukraine.
Right. And now, you know, Putin somewhere is scrambling. We also broke the story of how Vladimir Putin is going to be holding a meeting with the members of Russian Security Council within an hour. Where do you see any kind of plausible resolution in the near future as far as this particular offensive by Russia on Ukraine is concerned?
We are concerned for sure with this attack, but again, we are sure that moral and right and justice and strength is on our side. So we will for sure continue our fight.
Gita Mohan, who is a foreign affairs editor, is also with us at the moment. Gita, what is going on? This is a renewed attack. It's a fresh offensive. What is your sense?
Well, there are a few very important aspects, Cherti, that has to be looked into. And those are the fact that the bridge, the bombing of a bridge in Crimea, a critical link between Russia and Crimea, was certainly one of the reasons why we see an escalation. But also winters have already begun. Ukraine and Russia are getting cold. And in that, the Russian offensive is going to create a lot of problems for Ukraine as also Europe. What we're given to understand is, like you said, a Security Council meeting. President Putin has already addressed the gathering and the meeting is underway. Having said that, the West is also now in touch with the Ukrainian leadership. Foreign Minister Kuleba was on a tour to Africa. He's cut short his visit. He's returning to Ukraine given the escalation. But there is another very important aspect that we've just learnt of, that there was a breach of the airspace of Moldova in the earlier hours of today when the airstrikes were taking place. Russian missile attacks breached Moldova's airspace apparently, and because of this, the claims that are made by Moldova, Russian ambassador to Moldova was summoned by the foreign ministry, and a strong protest has been lodged with regards to the airspace violation. So that's a very important aspect. Also goes to show how vulnerable not just Ukraine, but the European countries bordering Ukraine really are. Having said that, the attack in Crimea certainly was acted as a catalyst, and the
Absolutely.
response has been huge, because Russia now is looking at Kyiv all over again after its withdrawal from Kyiv, after which we've not seen any attack on
All right.
the
I thank you both
capital
very
city
much for
or
joining
nearby.
us on this broadcast.